Hi everyone, in this video I want to talk about Yanfei. This is going to be a basic guide to Yanfei. I am no whale, so this is I think a very average build that is very attainable to the average player. Most people can build a better than this, you can probably use a better than this, but this has worked for me all the way from basically I got it at the very beginning of the game. She was on my very first pulled characters. All the way to like AR50. Now I've been at sort of AR50, waited until I ascended the rank, and now I've got a few more characters to play with. I've got a few more people ranked up where they should be and built up. So now, unfortunately, Yanfei for me has taken a bit of a back step. But I thought I'd do this video because I used her predominantly for pretty much the entire year playing Genshin, and I just thought I'd do this video if this helps you, because I've noticed some people on the subreddits can get a bit confused with her playstyle or what she's used for, and some people just don't like Catalyst users altogether, and I understand that. So I thought straight away I'll do some demonstrating later on with her attack style and how I've used her, but I thought I'd go over at the beginning here just how I built her, which isn't anything, as I say, anything too big. The big thing is constellations, which were all built up over time. I originally got her on the permanent banner way back at the beginning of this year, and I believe, no, that is correct, I got 2 of these constellations from the permanent banner, and then I think the third one was one of her on a seasonal banner earlier in the year. But either way, I did start out with a C0 Yanfei, and slowly I've sort of, to now, we've built up some constellations. The constellations do help, as they do with any character, but they aren't essential, and I was still doing very well at the beginning of the game with my C0 Yanfei. And as I was saying, I'll show you my attack routine and my rhythm, and how I use her and how I think is best advised to use her. Obviously, team comp goes a long way in this game, it goes without saying, but constellations, if you can get them, help. But don't try and wish on a banner just for Yanfei if she's, say, just on the banner itself, because the chances are that you're not going to get her. If you try and snipe 4 stars, it can get very, very tricky, so be careful with that. I just, just let the game give it. If you're going to get Yanfei like I did, the game will give it to you. So I recently got Diluc. Very recently got Diluc. I tried building him. After using Yanfei for so long, I just can't do it, man. No shame to Diluc. He's a great character. If you get him early on, he's probably better than Yanfei. But going from my experience, I recently got Yoimiya. Love her character style. Because I liked Yanfei so much, I thought we'd get Yoimiya. Very happy with her. Really liked her playstyle, and now having her has literally enabled me to basically do this video about Yanfei. Straight away, we've got with the Solar Pearl. There's a silver looking weapon like this you get as a 3-star weapon at the very beginning. I can't remember what it's called, but I had her with one of those silver things. I mean, it might have crit damage on it, I can't remember, but I had her with that for a very long time. I thought that worked very well. I believe we might have had the Vonis Codex when that was like one of my first 4 stars I got. We got that R5, and unfortunately no one to use it at the minute for, which is a bit of a shame. I didn't have any of these really. That was probably the only 5-star weapon, or 4-star weapon, sorry, I had. And then I think when I got the Widsith, which was probably when I got her about C2, shortly after, probably about AR20, somewhere around there, maybe a bit on, maybe at 25, somewhere around there. I got the Widsith, and then that has been a fantastic weapon for Yanfei. If you've got the Widsith, I'd really recommend putting that with her. It really works well. It can be a bit random because it changes of the nature of the weapon. It goes from 6% attack and damage, and elemental mastery is all mixed in there. So, but overall, she can really knock the damage numbers out early on in the game. And I had a lot of fun with that. But now coming into it with my Mona, she's got that now, and so we got the Solar Pearl. That always sort of intrigued me. I initially got it for Klee, but that's a different story altogether. We haven't got Klee. Like Klee, we'll do a Klee hopefully when she arrives at some point, and when I get used to her and build her, and I'll do a video on her. But that's a long time away. So I've got over the Wanderer's Troop. Probably not recommended. I think the biggest bit of advice I can advise straight away here is, because we're also quite close to it, is this it? This is it. The Crimson Witch of Flames domain. Now, I did this domain at the very beginning, watching a lot of the creators. You know, when you're doing these sort of domain of blessing level 1 and level 2, you can't even get the gold artifacts. Probably not even unlocked due to your level. I can't remember the world rank and the levels it needs, but so I did this domain at these 2 levels a lot. I used a lot of my resin. I don't think I had condensed resin at that point. I was just using normal resin. and the drop rate of it was just quite frankly disgusting. I think I had about 2 good Crimson Witch pieces really ever out of it, and I got very rarely got Crimson Witch pieces anyway. And as I said, I did this domain a lot for weeks on end, for almost months on end, to try and get some nice pieces for my Yanfei, and it just never happened. What would always drop was this martial arts set. I had loads of that. In fact, actually thinking about it, I believe I had my Yanfei on a set. It might have just been a 2-piece set initially. This increases normal charge attack. I think I had that with that at the beginning as a replacement because I couldn't do it, and its defender's will was just kind of useless at that point for me. Maybe Noel early on in the game is good with that set. So best thing I can advise is early on, just don't waste your time with this domain if you can help it. If you can do the matching and maybe sort of chip in and try and do some of the higher levels, that's possibly a better way of doing it, but I don't know where that really comes in. I'm not too sure. But yeah, this is a bait domain. Be careful. You can waste, as I said, months doing this. It's notoriously a bait domain. There is now a way of crafting the Crimson Witch set at the alchemy bench in any of the towns. I think, again, you need to be a certain rank to do that. Anyway, for this reason, this is why I gave her a Wanderer's Troop set, and she's had this for a very, very long time, and I've slowly sort of ranked it up. None of my characters are maxed out. Because I've got so many, and because I haven't spent too much money on the game. I'm a Welcome recently and Battle Pass user. I'm going to probably get this Battle Pass too. So it'll be my 3rd Battle Pass I'll buy. Probably the last one, if I'm honest, unless some crazy characters come up. But I'm pretty set now, I think. The main problem I've got is weapon materials, really. That's the big problem I've got at the minute. But anyway. So level 12 on my flower here, and it's got crit rate and the rest of the stats, elemental mastery, flat defense, flat attack, which is quite frankly terrible. I was actually looking before this to see if I've got any better flowers, but I haven't. I think that was one of the best flowers I've had, and Sucrose has had the other, and Mona's got the other, and they're all pretty rough. If you can get a nice Wanderer's Troop set, it can be very good. It does turn around a bit here, though. I've got a really nice, I've got crit rate and crit damage. It's not maxed, even though it's a max rolled flower, so it's got 10% HP. Not as good as it could be. None of my artifacts are as good as they could be because of the nature of the game. I've just had to go with what I've been given and rank up what I can with what I've got. So like my sands here for pretty much everybody is barely ranked up. And I've got... we've got crit rate, bit of flat HP, well, a lot of flat HP on that actually, which it's not necessarily a bad thing, flat HP, bit of crit damage, and some elemental mastery. Again, not great, but not bad. And that's an attack piece, which is, I guess, the important thing there. You want a good bit of attack. Pyro damage. We've got a flat defense, 40% attack, 6.5% crit rate, which again isn't good, and 13% defense. That's terrible. Yeah, I mean, it can be good because Yanfei is unfortunately a solo unit, what I'll go into in a moment here. I'm going to go into some team comps in a bit on what I used and what I reckon is she's very flexible. And it's almost each boss in the game would almost need a different Yanfei composition if that's what you intended to do. Not impossible, but yeah, so you got to have a bit of flexibility with your supports for her to be really utilized, in my opinion. And probably one of the most flexible supports in the game I don't use, which is Bennett. Bennett is always recommended with everyone. I don't personally like the character. I don't like his style or anything. And I haven't built him, but he is a fantastic character if you build him correctly. He's a healer. He buffs attack. For someone like Yanfei, it would be perfect, really. If you want to get that double pyro resonance, you can get basically 20% damage bonus. I can't remember. We can even have a look. But again, I don't really rely on that. So, and the final piece is we've got the crit damage. Again, I think it's a Wanderer's Troop set. Where is it? So, 60. So, there's not much too ranked up on her. I think that's quite accessible. Most people haven't gone as OCD as I haven't got as many characters I've had. I think I've got like 21 characters that are usable, and they're pretty much built. And this is at world level 8, so this is the top level in the game, which I thought would be a lot harder than this. What weapons do we got? The solar pearl. It's actually R2. I forgot to say it's my second battle pass, and that's what I chose. I just refined this, and I'll probably get R3 again on that. To be honest, I'm not really going to change that if I do get another battle pass. As for the talents are all level 6, and because we've got the constellation 3, it increases the rank of that talent by another 3. So it's technically still 6, but it's ranked it up, and that's her. For me, that's her Q. But it's actually, I think standard is E for that move, but I've swapped it around. It's alright, that move. It comes into combination with this, so it actually tells you, by the way, if you didn't know, talent reference up here, tells you the priority to level their talents, and Yanfei is one of the few, similar to Yoimiya, where her normal attack, her top talent here, is actually her main priority, and it's correct. Her ult isn't too great, but it's got basically, you got to sort of utilize some of the mechanics of Genshin with Yanfei here, and it's kind of taught me a lot about the game. When you can dodge at the right time, and when you say your ultimate at the right time, or your burst rather, it will give you an invulnerability moment. It's where you can't take any damage. It's only a split second. It's kind of a timing game in many ways. And so if you can basically utilize that with Yanfei, that is the key for her survival on the battlefield. We'll go and do some testing now. I'll show you some teams that I use, some teams I use. I'll try not to spend too long with this, and I'll show you the rotation. I'll show you the rotation of what I do with her in terms of her attacks before I go into a battle, and hopefully this comes across on video. And if you enjoyed this, please leave a like. She's been one of my favorite characters from the beginning. She ultimately reminds me out of a character of one of my favorite animes, Lieutenant Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist. I didn't know of her character before I came into Genshin. Genshin was a complete blank slate for me. I didn't know any of the characters, didn't know any of her, just trying it because I like Zelda. And I bet she's one of the characters that pleasantly surprised me. As I said, I got her pretty much straight away at the beginning of the game, and we'll get to it. Her fireballs she throws are actually homing. So if a character's actually, an enemy is moving quite fast across the battlefield, if you can target correctly, then basically they will home in on it. Now, I've used her for God knows how many hours, so I have a very good understanding of her distance, of her attack rate, and what you want to be doing. And I'll try and get some of that across. So say, for example, this tower is an enemy. Your maximum sort of target rate, give or take, is going to be about this distance. You don't really want to be too much further away from the target from this way, and you don't want to be too much closer. You can get away with being like really close to your targets, but ultimately she's quite easy to get knocked back and knocked over. You don't really want that with Yanfei. You generally always want to be maintaining a sort of medium distance. Even sort of here is about right for all the attacks. Now, she gains on hit, when you hit with 3 normal, so 1, 2, 3, which is very slow. If you hit all 3 of those, she'll gain a stamina stack, which will be shown on her back in sort of the, I can't remember what it's called, it's got a word, I should be more professional about it, but anyway. Give her a reduced stamina bonus, Scarlet Seals I believe, which then means you can then cast a charge attack. Now this combined with her E will basically also give you a further, I think, it will also restock your seals. So again, she's got more reduced stamina on her charge attack. So in many ways, what you want to be doing at the very beginning of the fight is you want to be opening up with normals like 1, 2, 3, maybe a charge attack, and then 1, 2, 3, charge attack, and you want to go into Q and almost do, if you can get away with it, you want to do, and then immediately do Q for me, or do your skill and do 2 charge attacks. And from those skill and 2 charge attacks, you want to go straight back into normal attack. And it's want to be like 1, 2, 3, charge. 1, 2, 3, charge, charge, Q, charge, 1, 2, 3, Q, charge. You basically almost want to get into this rhythm. At the beginning, it can be slow. That's what I mean. You almost want to do 1, 2. You almost want to do 2 steps of normals and maybe a charge in between before you really get off to it. I'll try and now go and demonstrate it. Okay, well, we'll try that again because for whatever reason I went and did some fighting, and it might happen again. My computer we just dropped to like 10 frames like 5 or 6 times. And I just this is a joke. We can just use this as the punching bag, and I won't actually kill it. We'll just do some sort of mild damage till the end.
Faster?
Now,
okay, faster.
Indeed, this team isn't that heavily invested in. As I said, they're all kind of mediumly built. My supports here, and I'll show some variations in the supports I used. This team works very well against, let's say, the Electro teams, or the Electro bosses rather, and it can be used to do a lot of domains. For this boss though, probably not really. You want some Electro, you want some Hydro. And bit of pyro to go with that as well. Dendro works well on this boss. But we're just sitting here. It's generally about timed attacks with Yanfei. About really timing everything and getting used to her rhythm. But if you don't like that, then she's probably not the character for you. But she's very, very powerful when put into the right position. I mean, here we're not doing that much, but I say it's been a while since I've used her. And this isn't probably the right setting for her. But overall, given time, she is still pretty hard. I need to stop talking. That's funny. We could go and do one of the electro bosses, but
No, my sword. Flags up.
1, 2, 3, go into a charge, then go into a skill, go into another charge, and then go 1, 2, 3 into a charge again. Try and avoid that. Usually go into a potential counter, but notice to do another rotation. Go for the counter, defend. It's good attack again. Unfortunately got hit. I'm not very good at that last hit half the time. Timing can be a little bit tricky.
Incinerate. Invisible evidence. Unleash.
Overall, very much Yanfei earning her name with a team like this. And it's generally one of the premium teams for it. If Jingsha was more built, would be doing more vape and would be doing that sort of more reactions, even with Chi-Chi, but he's not that built for me. He's still pretty good, though. Okay. Okay, leave it alone. We're gonna go and change team. Now I'll actually go to the team I started out with at the beginning of the game. Thankfully, it actually seems to run a lot better there, thankfully, because I was having some game was running a bit bad there, so I don't know what was going on. Chi-Chi, wonderful character. Right, we're on the wrong menu. Scuffed Video 101. Here we go. So we got Seu, and then the big character I had next was Diana. Works fantastic with her shield, and then we'll have Beidou.
I trust you.
This was a team that really carried my game from the very early on. They're all characters I pulled from the permanent banner very early on. I believe I got Diana on, like, say, Miko's banner. I actually got a C6 on that banner, but we won't really talk about that. It's the only character I've got that high constellation, and turns out it's very useful. Diana is a fantastic character, really like her style, and she matched with Seu very much early on in my game. And as I say, pretty much carried a lot of my game till early on. Now, sometimes I had to vary it out. I might have had to take out, say, Seu and put Noelle in instead for the sort of extra shield. Noelle does have a place with Yanfei's team just for that reason, just for providing shield and some shield breaking as well. She can take out some... she can destroy shields pretty well as well. So we're going over here. Yanfei's already pretty injured, so that kind of tactic, you want to open up and actually kind of focus on your supports here, get them some energy. And then we'll start kicking off with Yanfei. We want to try and maintain this distance. I think I was a bit too close before as well, which definitely wasn't helping me. I don't need to counter there, but we'll use it. And for the sake of it, we're going to throw out Seiyu's ult as well. And we're just going to go hammer with Yanfei. Now we've got 2 points of healing below us, so really, this is a time you don't really have to worry about healing so much. Obviously, it's good to still keep it in mind. Oh, for God's sake. I'm used to her kicking back a lot quicker. I don't know why. I'm talking too much. There we go. So you want to try and hit the counters if you can. But this kicking can be kind of annoying with its attack patterns. Sometimes it will go for like a free hit thing, other times it won't. So now we're powered up with Beidou. Beidou's ult is primarily here to boost Yanfei. That is all I really use it for. Counter and boost. See, I thought we were going to go for another attack and it didn't. Kind of annoying. And it does that, yeah, great. Thank you. Great attack patterns there. There we go. So Sei's a bit injured, Diana's a bit injured. Need to focus on that. Go into a Q, go into a rolls. Get Diana healed up. Kind of essential to keep Diana. There we go. Oh, okay. be lying if I said that didn't happen regularly.
Look at you, Blue down.
And again, my Diana's not even that built, to be honest.
Time for your arraignment.
For how she could
Motion
be.
to compel. Rules not.
Okay, chicken for it. Fuck off. So obnoxious. See, now I want to go quite far, but we've got these Yanfei will auto target, so your positioning is key with this. You see, it's not necessarily the quickest team, but it's a pretty good team. This is a team that I say I majority use at the beginning of the game with Noel. I never really had any problems. Obviously 5 stars are more powerful, etc, etc. But yeah, really, really fun. You can take out even Dana in that team and put in Fischl. So you have got Seiyu, Yanfei, Fischl, and Beidou for the double Electro. You can put, you could take out, say, Seiyu and put Barber in it. Let's keep trying to call her Beidou for. There was another one I used that was very good in this team. I've never really used Zhangling with Yanfei. I found that very hard to sort of pair another Pyro user with her, really. A team of the Overworld I've been having a lot of fun with, and it is mainly an Overworld team, was saying have Seiyu for the traveling, having Yanfei for the main DPS, and then having Amber. Amber can take out shields really nicely. For majority of the time that sometimes Yanfei can struggle with is sometimes shields. The only downside this team really had in the game when I faced anything, and similar with Diana, but even though she was a bit better for it, was like the Pyro Fatui guy. He's a bit of a problem. You can spend about a year trying to kill him, unfortunately, but that's only because there's no water in the team to take him out, unfortunately. But other than that, really, I mean, I can demonstrate this team. This isn't really a boss team by any means, though. And I've actually been putting Kuki in it.
What they do this time?
So it's a double Electro, double Pyro. I don't know if this chicken gets distracted by Baron Bunny, but it might do. The Overworld, it obviously does, which is where it works.
Hey, go Baron Bunny!
Yeah, it doesn't give a shit.
Stand with me! To ashes! Boom!
So now we're getting the Pyro Resonance, we're doing way more damage. And obviously, if you bother to do all that, for God's sake. I find the jump really hard to dodge, it's annoying, and it'll kill your characters. I thought they were dead there, to be honest.
No one escapes my motion to compel.
It's gonna happen for too close, but it's fine. I want to make sure.
Stand with me. Motion to compel. Let it rain. Incinerate. Invisible out of my way. Eyes on me. Dissipate. Boom.
overall, the other teams maybe weren't necessarily the right team, though I've still got the music going on. The other teams weren't necessarily the right team for this boss in particular, but they do have their place in the overworld for when needing shields and different combinations of elements and reactions and things like that. If this video helped you, please leave a like. I'm going to have to edit it quite a lot because I've had some issues. I don't know what's going on with some of the Genshin's recent update of SSR is a bit unstable for me. So I did a bit of testing and I actually didn't like it, so I had to redo this video. So if you enjoyed, please leave a like, as I say. If you're new, subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.